This is Abe Friedtanzer from Movies with Abe, and I'm thrilled to be speaking with Kestrin Pantera, the filmmaker behind Pretty Problems, which is screening at South by Southwest. How are you doing today, Kestrin?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I was glad to be able to watch your film from the comfort of my own home. This time, I saw Mother's Little Helpers in person at South by Southwest 3 years ago. So I was excited to see that you were working on something else that was back at the festival.
Oh yeah, I was fortunate enough to bookend the last two in-person events in Austin. So yeah, it was great to be back.
How was the experience different this time around?
It was a little lighter overall, but our screening was really well attended. And Janet introduced our film this year, and Janet Pearson is the executive, the director of film, and it was a really cathartic and best case scenario screening experience.
That's really great. And how would you say that those two films, I know that you have a first film as well, but these two films, how would you say that they're different and also like each other?
Oh gosh. Well, the way that they're similar is that they're character-driven ensemble comedies with dramatic elements. I would say they're different in that Mother's Little Helpers was, I would say, a funny drama, and this one is Pretty Problems is a straight up comedy. And that's really where this is really where my heart and mind are right now. I was joking when I introduced the film that there are a lot of important films coming out this year, and this isn't one of them. I hope you like dick jokes, and it's been great. Audiences have seemed to really enjoy it.
That's really great. I definitely enjoyed it as well. And I like that, like your previous films, this one is written in part by the actors. That's something that you gravitate towards?
I think so. I feel like I had a sort of empathetic exchange with my lead actor, Michael, who is also the writer, where I was seeing him do things that I recognized from when I was the star of a movie that I had written. And so there was one scene that I remember editing in Mother's Little Helpers where I had to cut to a close-up of myself to get a reaction. And I was like, I can see in my face that I'm directing, behind the eyes. And it was really hard to get a clip that I could use, where I wasn't doing that. And so I could see little moments where we would start to go in that direction with Michael. And I was like, Michael, come here, we got to talk. I've been here. I'm here for you. And he was so wonderful and vulnerable and really trusted me and gave over that kind of controlling instinct and impulse that any writer or creator has, when they write their own story. So I felt like well equipped to handle that situation with him.
In any part of the production process, was there a role in this film for you on screen?
On screen in this film, no. It was very much cast when I inherited it. They're all actors at an acting studio, and they all kind of cast their besties in it. But I did get to cast the role of J.J. Nolan and Vanessa Chester as Kat and Gigi, respectively. I think I did film a little bit of myself on one of our earlier days in some B-roll with my friend Raviv Ullman, who's like a really prolific actor in his own right and child star, but he came out and he helped. He had a drone. So I was like, Raviv, come on, let's shoot some drone stuff together and come on down. And then it was our first group ensemble day. We were moving really slowly and we were ready. So we're like, let's just get B-roll of Raviv and me playing bocce ball, but we didn't make the cut, sadly. I was the one that cut us out.
That's fair, I guess. What was it about this story that you related to and wanted to take on?
Well, I said this in another interview that I think could be easily taken out of context. So I think in storytelling, I really love stories that involve debauchery of all kinds. And I used to produce events like late night karaoke events. And I used to do a lot of film shoots in them involving, in my first movie, there were a lot of karaoke party scenes that we used our karaoke RV called the RVIP Lounge in. And I did, several commercials and other things that involved shooting parties that had to be really fun. So I really understand how to do that. It's just part of my wheelhouse of shooting a party that actually looks fun, because so often you'll see a party scene and you're like, that is a bunch of extras pretending to have a good time and phoning it in, and it sucks. So that capturing that magic is one of my strong suits. And I love stories that involve drugs and alcohol and sex and rock and roll much. And I also have kids, so I love telling stories that are super pure and for the pure of heart. But I myself, like, Moody Days are, have been behind me for a very, very long time. And there was a quote in the other thing where it was like, I love drugs and sex and alcohol. And I'm like, I actually don't. Like, I retired after college from that, my party lifestyle. But there's a part of me, I love being out and being involved, out in the nightlife. And, especially after the last couple of years, it was something that was fully surrendered. So a couple weeks ago, I started just telling everyone, I was like, you're on notice. Because I have 2 kids, people think that I don't want to go out. And because I don't drink, people think that I don't want to go out. And because I don't do drugs, people think that I don't go out. But let the record show, I want to be invited to parties. I want to be in a party. I want to see what's happening. I want to see the outfits, and I want to dance. So that still stays. You invite me to your party.
Okay, well, I do think that this does seem like the people are really either having fun or horrified about other people having fun. And it even if that's not something you can necessarily relate to, it's something that really does feel authentic. And so I can appreciate that about the film.
Thanks.
So you said before, this is not one of the important movies playing at South by Southwest. Do you feel that it's a good escape from a lot of what's going on in the world right now?
Yes, I think it's a necessary escape. And that's kind of the only genre that I watch personally. When it comes to media, I pretty much only watch broad comedies. I can recite every word from, National Lampoon's European Vacation is one of my favorite movies. Zoolander is one of my favorite movies. I like really basic comedy. I love Schitt's Creek. I love Arrested Development is obviously the best show ever made. And I do like Fight Club and The Social Network. Those are 2 other of my favorite films. But if I had to watch a movie every night before going to bed, it would be Zoolander.
That's okay. That's very informative, I think. And so obviously I wasn't in person at South by Southwest, but you were. What was the audience reaction like? Was it what you expected?
It was crazy. We had a standing ovation. The house was packed. Everyone laughed. I was like, this is so good that it might ruin me, because I don't know if I'll ever have as good of an audience again for the rest of my life. It was incredible.
I'm glad to hear that. And do you know what's next for the film?
So we have Sonoma International Film Festival next weekend, and we have another festival, Sunscreen, in St. Petersburg, Florida, which is one of my favorite places to go for a festival. And we have some really exciting conversations going on with outlets. So, we have a lot of festival conversations, but, the big dream is that you have to, decline politely all the festivals, because you're going to have a wider release. And we're excited about the conversations that are happening.
That's really great. And do you have a next project in mind? And will you be starring in that one?
Will I be? Oh my gosh. Do you think I should? Do you think I should keep acting? What do you think?
Of course, of course.
Did you like? Okay. So I have a couple different projects. My formula right now is Formula 42. So that's 40 scenes of laughter and then 2 scenes of tears. And so of the projects that I have coming up next, I have my friend, or my colleague, a writer, a creator, Renee Wilson, who I've been working on a story with her about her upbringing and her coming of age story as a Black Catholic schoolgirl in New Orleans. And because she's a witch, there's magic involved. And Shaz Bennett, who's an extraordinary showrunner, is attached. And she currently showruns for Ava DuVernay's Queen Sugar. And I have another sci-fi action comedy story that's about a woman who lives in a sad sack universe, and she finds a portal in her shower that takes her to another like hot happening awesome dimension where everything's amazing, and it's like Studio 54, except the only problem is she's dead. But what I really want to do, if I could proclaim it to the universe is, I want to show you my cat, because I actually brought her to the set of my feature film when we shot Pretty Problems, and she also came with me to South by and flew with me on a plane today. My true life's work and mission would be to direct the live action reboot of the Aristocats, and Disney doesn't know this quite yet, but it will be mine.
Well, I think that's probably the best answer I've heard to a question about, future projects. You have a lot lined up, that everything's very different, and I'm excited to hear it. So
thank you.
Of course, thank you so much for speaking with me today. Best of luck with this film, and can't wait to talk about one of your next projects when it's in development.
My pleasure. Thanks, Abe.
Take care.
Bye.